Sean Gouglas is Director of Interdisciplinary Studies in the Faculty of Arts and an Associate Professor in Humanities Computing. Last year, as many of you know, he launched a new massive online open course called Understanding Video Games. Talk about engaging communities. The first iteration had over 31,000 students from 154 countries. Now Sean has a question for us, and he's asking, do you want to play a game? Sean.
So I study games. I love everything about games, and I mostly study video games, so I'm going to talk about video games by not talking about video games at all. What I am going to do is actually get you to play a game. And we're going to play a game that is thousands of years old. So what I need for you to do is to stand up. You guys can stand up too. So this game works a lot like rock, paper, scissors, except it's not quite like rock, paper, scissors. It's a game called Morra. And what you do instead of throwing out scissors or paper or rock is you throw out with a partner anything between 0 and 5 fingers. And the trick is that on the third one, you yell out what you think the total will be. So what I want you to do is play this game for a couple of minutes. Whoever gets a point gets a point. All right, so go. All right, thank you. So I love everything that just happened there. How we try and work within rules in games, how we start trying to figure out how to win. I mean, I think I actually saw someone go like this and go 9, which is great because we're trying to negotiate the rules together. But rules aren't cut in stone. This is a sarcophagus from the 3rd century AD around Rome where these 2 young girls are playing Morra in the corner. But, rules aren't carved in stone. As I mentioned, they're more like this if you look at Bruegel's great painting from children's games. It's kind of chaotic, right? There's all this sorts of constraint, working within the constraint, the sort of liberty that goes with that. And in fact, in this picture, again, we have 2 women playing Morra. And I think that's fascinating too. How do we work within that sort of constraint? But what I also love is the social dynamic of games, the way in which we construct meaning together as we play games. Now, I study video games in particular, and there's a real sort of interesting structure as to how people construct meaning from video games. How do we determine who's a legitimate player and who's not? Because most of you, if you were to imagine who you think a video game player is, you're probably thinking someone who's about 18, someone who's in the mother's basement, maybe unwashed. That sort of general perception of what a video game player actually is, and yet the average video game player is about 35 years old. And the likelihood of that person being a woman, if they call themselves a gamer, is about 48%. And yet women only make up about 9% of the people who make games. So what I do in my research is try and figure out ways in which we can create opportunity with community groups around the country, with ladies learning code or dames making games, as we try and figure out ways of creating more opportunity for women to become equal participants in the production of video games rather than just in the consumption of video games. Thank you.